Kuzangpo and welcome to Bhutan This Week. I'm Sharab Zangmo. In this week's top stories, His Majesty the King awarded service and gallantry medals to 239 individuals on Thursday. Thousands of people flocked to Changlimethong Stadium on Thursday as the nation celebrated the 33rd birth anniversary of His Majesty the King. And about 230 million yultrum of unresolved irregularities reflected in the audit reports of 2008, 2009 and 2010 have been settled, reports the Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly. His Majesty the King awarded service and gallantry medals to 239 individuals on Thursday. They received the medals at the Deshincholing Palace in Thimphu.
His Majesty's arrival was followed by the national anthem. Ten senior-most officers of the armed forces were awarded the gold medal, the Drakpi Rinchen Tsuktor. Others received the silver medal, Drakpi Norbu Yesel. The awards also included 3 posthumous medals. Medals were awarded to 9 Desups and 2 civilians as well. The medals were awarded in recognition of their meritorious and distinguished service to the Chaosum and for exemplary acts of patriotism and sacrifice in service of the nation. His Majesty expressed his appreciation to the recipients for having served the nation with unwavering loyalty and said that the entire nation owes them a great deal of gratitude. His Majesty also said that they should continue serving the country with the same dedication.
The charagi genka batang nosum tantang the ngachara gyaka blue cha shutang tauda the ngachi kokelera the nyerangub da karisam gupul the tibendigi the tari tad tendigi tolebe the ngachakaragi katule melom tabdube the chelu karigaso the nyerang Yi Tagma Sujinis. In the Rebero, the Talapai Guzung de Be, Cheragi Sheship Tontubjil, Trotuk de Vera, Laksam Namda Gitole, Nachera Sumlu, Kade Tata, Tushume Batzagan de Vera Chashugol, Marage Loshibumbera, Chelu Take the Bull, the Nachera Takasumgi. Magdegi Marayap Chitogolu Pepdube Longo Sumchuso Jijuil Amchigi Nankunalo Machera Gyakab the Misselo Kade Tata Zagendebe Chashuil Tikaragi Shesa Tonsail Maragebe Dibe the Lo Dundiji Asil Toto sunchigi panay ngachira gyakab de meselu tushu mebobera cha shudol. Talapa guzungde tarigi durab dinalu. De ngachira gyakab ki pigi rawadi de takasumgi magdin. Gyakab ki rawan ranse sunjob ngachira gyakab ki deki tanzi tamni ki de gyangade de ngachilu podibu talapai de kade taja zagendi be chashugol de jen taridi ngarakatule hinlera de chelu karigasu de chiga de kairalu tashdiliyul.
Earlier, His Majesty the King granted dar to the new Zimpen Ugen Namgyel. Zimpen Ugen Namgyel has a degree in diplomatic studies from Oxford University and has been serving as Changkap to His Majesty the King since 2003. His Majesty the King also granted Kabne and Pata to the new director of the Royal Office for Media, Gele Chamso. On the occasion of His Majesty's 33rd birthday, His Majesty, accompanied by Her Majesty the Gyaltsen, visited the Dichen Photang Monastic School and offered prayers and nyanda for continued peace and prosperity in the country. His Majesty also met the monks and granted Sera. The monks offered prayers to His Majesty. Towards the evening, His Majesty and the Gyaltsen also visited the Jigme Dorji Wangchuk National Referral Hospital. At the hospital, Their Majesties visited the pediatric ward and spent time with the children there. They shared a cake and presented them with toys and other gifts. Their Majesties also visited the patient's guest house and met with the patients and their relatives. The guest house accommodates long-term patients who do not have a place to stay in Thimphu and also those patients who have no one to take care of them. Sonamongdi for BBS News.
Thousands of people flocked to the Changlimethang Stadium on Thursday to celebrate His Majesty the King's 33rd birth anniversary. Prime Minister Jigme Thinley, Cabinet Ministers, parliamentarians and senior government officials were also present at the celebration.
The Changlimethang Stadium wore a festive look for His Majesty's birth anniversary. The Prime Minister, while addressing the nation, said, "It is this day that every Bhutanese must value highly." Lenchen also spoke about His Majesty's wise leadership and tireless and selfless service to the people.
Tato, meongadare moche, sichigolu peptigibe, lokam mason. 마송되게라 베르라 뒤인 토구치기 날로 명하나를 모치기 잡아틀레데 가라가 지기 뜻이살로 이 통살로 이 남레 쳐토고로 펩심래 나처럼 메시속이 데키기 디 가데베 야케타네 이나 메시속이 기도디 tuk한 남되기 배심래 차라 넘바 나소 잭나이 세슈네 Kubo Gawalu Masi, Sobalo, Timasi. Namisamegi Kawaching to give it. Nacharagi, Gahap, Kisawa, Takalapalo, the Shatabe Jendigibe, Missegi Kidudi, Koregi Tukalu, Lenigi Dundalo Bedigibe, Kegobi Dundalo Bedi, the chain.
As part of the celebration, students from various schools in Thimphu performed cultural programs. People gathered at the stadium also wished His Majesty the King.
I just want to wish our King a very happy birthday. He has done so much for our country and I really love him.
Yandu Jevigi, Nachi Gakamdalo, the Kakita Dembe, Junchu, Sevigi, Daringachina, Kara looked to this Zomede, the diletende is.
Tuki Apke me, Cheting Chusum Garagi Katole, Kachi Dici, Tungar Dichinge Nimdelo, Tashidele, yes, Shuni.
All other Dzongkhaks besides Thimphu also celebrated His Majesty's birthday. Pemal Haden for BBS News.
About 230 million Yultrom of irregularities have been resolved according to the review by the Public Accounts Committee of the National Assembly. This means at least 45% of the unresolved irregularities reflected in the audit reports of 2008, 2009 and 2010 have been settled.
Last year, a total of over 500 million Yultrom unresolved irregularities from ministries, Dzongkhaks, Gyoks, autonomous bodies, corporations and NGOs was reported to the Parliament. Following the disclosure in audits, the National Assembly then directed the committee to review and report the irregularities in the present session. Today, the committee in less than a year reported resolving over 230 million ngiltrum, leaving a balance of over 278 million ngiltrum from the annual audit reports of 2008, 2009 and 2010. The balance of unresolved irregularities accrued mostly in the Health Ministry and Pendant Cement Authority Limited, whose cases still maintain a status quo. As per the review report, the agency that had resolved irregularities by 100% in all 3 years was the Ministry of Agriculture and Forest. Similarly, the review report was also presented to the National Council by the committee chairperson. Meanwhile, the Assembly adopted the Alternate Dispute Resolution Bill of Bhutan 2012. Sunumfunso for BBS News.
Preparation works for the detailed project report of the Bhutan Education City has started. This was confirmed by one of the 2 Indian companies who will construct the education city.
According to IL and FS Township and Urban Assets Limited, the detailed project report of the education city is likely to be complete over the next 9 months. The detailed project report comprises of infrastructure development and architectural design of the city. Once the detailed project report is complete, the construction of the city will take place. The education city will be built in an area covering over 1,000 acres of government land at Wan Sisina in Thimphu. The site is currently abuzz with the construction of an access road from the main highway towards the site. Construction of a bridge within the site has also begun. IL and FS Township and Urban Assets Limited has partnered with a company called Infinity to construct this city.
Whenever an opportunity in public-private partnership comes up, we go by the value that is involved in the project. Its socio-economic factors are taken into consideration, not just commercial. And this project, we thought it suited the value propositions, and we partnered with the Infinity Infotech Park Limited to jointly bid for this project.
The cost of the construction is estimated to be about 20 billion ngiltrum. Pemal Harden for BBS News.
The public consultation meeting on 770 megawatt Chamkarchu 1 hydroelectric project was held last Friday in Buli, Shemgang with the affected families. The project will begin by 2015 at Digala.
The public consultation meeting was held between the affected villagers and stakeholders of the project. The meeting was basically to brief and sensitize people on the upcoming project's impact and to solicit views, comments and suggestions from the people.
The meeting is basically to consult and inform you all about the project and its benefit to the government and people.
Officials from various agencies also presented the environmental impact, land acquisition and rehabilitation and resettlement programs for the affected families. People of Upper King in Shemgang are looking forward for the start of the project. They said the project will uplift the livelihood of the people and eradicate poverty in the area.
We welcome the much-awaited project and are ready to render support in whatever we can. We are happy that such consultations are held. With the start of project, we will have the opportunity to boost our income.
Unlike other hydropower projects, Chamkarchu 1 has acquired only 14 acres of private land. Officials from the Department of Hydropower and Power Systems said with minimum private land acquisition and no houses in those affected areas, the project is expected to carry its initial work on time. Local leaders raised that land substitution and compensation should be given on time, unlike other projects. The Chamkarchu 1 project will partly affect the 3 geoks of Nangkor, Shinkar and Bardo.
It would be better if timely compensation is given without any delays. Compensation and land substitution will be done with the help of Zonghak administration.
The 770 megawatt Jamkarchu 1 hydroelectric project construction is estimated to cost over 69,000 million yutram. The project is a joint venture of the Druk Green Power Corporation and National Hydropower Corporation of India. According to the detailed project report, it will take 9 years to complete its construction. Compiled for Pema Samrup, Dojirema for BBS News.
After over a decade of erratic power supply in Bhutan, the Dzongkhag finally gets continuous power supply. Local residents say power supply has improved drastically in the past 1 year.
Before 2012, Bhutan used to get around 1.3 megawatt of electricity supply from Chume. But power supply to the entire Dzongkhag was not enough. And it was one of the main causes of frequent power failure in the Dzongkhag. People said sometimes they had to spend more than a week without electricity. And it is worse during winter when the power consumption increased in a cold place like Bhutan. According to the hoteliers, tourists always complained about the unreliable power supply.
We have been living
with poor power supply for 18 years. When there is power in the morning, there wouldn't be any in the evening. We could not work properly due to frequent power blackouts. Vehicles could not refill their tanks from the petrol pumps. We were also not able to use internet, rice cookers, oven and deep freezers in hotels. Till last year, we suffered a lot.
I don't know the actual reason, but earlier it was a big problem for us. Due to frequent power failure, we could not do some of our important works. It was also difficult for money transaction. Every time bank officials would say the system is not working due to power failure.
Since 2010, Bhutan received enough power from Kurichu Hydropower Corporation, but there was a problem.
After we started receiving electricity supply from the Kurichu Power Corporation, the load increased and some of the wires could not handle the pressure and it got damaged. As the supply was good, people started using more electrical appliances, increasing the load to their conductors. As there was just one conductor installed in every house, it could not handle the pressure. It was meant for the previous unit of electricity supply, which was less. Many conductors got damaged, then disrupting the power supply again.
However, the Bhutan Power Corporation Limited in Bhutan fixed the problems.
We changed some old insulators and replaced with some new conductors. We installed more wires where there were damages and other places. By 2012, we were able to complete all our works and we could improve the power supply in Bhutan.
Now, power supply at Bhutan is never inconsistent. The people of Bhutan now do not have to spend the cold winter evenings in the dark. Compiled for Komal Kharka, Taralimbu for BBS News.
Some of the villages in Menjigyok in Hunsia are spread across thousands of acres of wetland. But with shortage of irrigation water, farmers face difficulties cultivating paddy.
Most of the houses in the villages at Menjigyok are surrounded with paddy fields. People here say they are not only self-sufficient but also are able to earn some cash. But the problem is a lack of proper irrigation water supply.
There is shortage of water. During paddy transplantation, it becomes very difficult, so most of the fields are left barren. The water source is very small, and with everyone sharing limited water, it's never enough.
Rainwater is the only option. This, they said, hampers the quantity and the quality of rice.
It's not that we didn't receive any help from the government. We have been receiving funds every year, But since we don't get huge amount in the Gyeok level, we could not solve the problem. I also submitted the estimated cost to bring water from a new source to the Director of Agriculture, and it comes around 20 million nultrum, which is impossible to get. But we were given about 1 million nultrum, but the problem is still there.
Until more funds are available, the villages at Menjigyok will continue to face the shortage of irrigation water. Compiled for Kingatashi, Karmatsring, BVS News.
The laying of foundation of Yongla Gyönpa in Pema Gasil has begun. Yongla Gyönpa was severely damaged by September earthquake in 2009, but not many locals were ready to work at the site. So the Dzongkhag Tsogdo decided that every month 20 people from 8 gyeoks will contribute labor.
Yongla Gyönpa is one of the most important monasteries in the country. It was built according to the prophecy of Jigme Lingpa on a mountain that resembles Purba. It is believed to have been built in 1737. The Gyönpa was damaged by the earthquake of 21st September 2009. Though the works are in full swing, the labor contribution is not enough, and locals are also not willing to work. With the site located at high altitude, it is very difficult when it comes to concrete works. But recently, the government officials and volunteers at Pema Gasil have started to sacrifice their leisure time. They spend their weekends and holidays working at the site.
Since Yongla Gyönpa is a very sacred place in the country, we decided to contribute labor. Mass concreting works need about 50 people, but here there are only 20, so we came to help them.
The Gyönpa is very important to us. We, the civil servants, came here to help in rebuilding works, and we will continue to come whenever we are free.
It is one of the sacred places in the country, and it was damaged by an earthquake. We just wanted to give a service.
Once the foundation is laid, private contractors will take over the reconstruction works. Compiled for Trinle Doji, Sonomongdi, BBS News.
With this, we come to end of this week's edition of Bhutan This Week. Join us again next Saturday, same time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.